everyone. Welcome to this week's show. I am your host, your commissioner, and your champion, Team Ramrod. With me this week, I have GM of Sauce Pass. Oh, sorry, the
Whoa,
Big
whoa.
Bad Wolf. Take time to get used to this. I got Corey here. Welcome, buddy.
Yeah, we're gonna have to cut that out. Thanks for having me, man.
I don't
Glad to
have
be here.
a. Thanks for joining me. For those of you who don't know, I was in the middle of recording this with Kyle. He got an important call and he had to drop off. And I had recorded it with me talking about myself for about 15 minutes to finish it. And I just didn't like it. You need that banter. You need a back and forth.
Yeah.
You guys hear me run my mouth enough by myself. You want someone to
Yep.
kind of, offset that. So
You
thanks
pay
for
me the big
joining me.
bucks for.
Just to remind you guys, this is what it's all about. It's a trophy that many of you will never have your name on. Very, very few have their name on it. Only one person has it on there more than once. Champion.
Oh shit. I only have it once.
Been a long time for you, buddy. Been a long time.
Hey, it's gonna be bittersweet.
So you don't even remember how
On my
to
number two.
fantasy.
I never even have a trophy.
Yeah, you never got to hold the trophy really, right? So,
Only when I
um,
go visit. It's just not the same. Can't make love to it in a room of people watching you.
I mean, you could, but it's a little awkward.
Yeah, I didn't go good the first time.
We have some interesting results to go over, some big trades, and
Oh
some
yeah.
matchups this week. But last week we had three ties, unheard of in league history. I believe we've never had more than, if that, if we've had two in one week. We have three this week. So let's jump into it. First matchup. It's my favorite to talk about. Le Champion, Team Ramrod, 6-3-1 in fourth place. After defeating Shane's Bitch 2-7-1 15th. This is a name that Sean's gonna have to get used to. I told Sean if I win, when I win, and he gets the Caucasaurus, that his name next year will be Shane's Bitch all season, and he will battle for the right to switch his name for a week. So big
Is
happenings here
that
after
a
I
picture of you?
it is. He went and scoured the internet and grabbed a picture of
The
me with
dark
the logo.
webs.
He's really living up to the gimmick this week. I appreciate that. Um, there's a good story though about it at work. I guess he tells his work buddy that we have this bet. And Buddy knew it was coming, and he asked him who won, and when he found out it was me, it was funny in the lunchroom. Sean's buying his lunch at the calf, and Buddy comes up to me. I'm at a different table. He shows me a little paper towel, says Shane's bitch on it. He puts it right in front of him where Sean's sitting. Sean goes back to his seat to that placeholder. It was beautiful. So this matchup is impacting him in his workplace,
Oh, that's great.
and that's a beautiful thing. But Corey, why don't you tell me about this matchup? What happened?
Yeah, yeah. Your players came out to play. It was a pretty comfortable week for you. Pretty large margins for most of your categories, a couple close ones, but um, a lot more saves. Your goalies, even winning three of the five categories, have only taken one. So yeah, your team really came to play. Gunther, 3 goals, 3 assists, a pretty big week out of him.
Boy, he's
Uh, and, and yeah, no one else really showed up for Shane's bitch here, except for Lekanen. Had a few goals, but nothing really overly crazy here. Rangers aren't too hot. St. Colvin not putting up big numbers either.
They just traded Kako, actually,
I saw that actually. Yeah,
like just now.
yeah.
But Sean is a seller. We know it. He put a list up, what, 2 days ago with everyone on his team pretty much saying these guys are available. I like that. Commit to the rebuild. He needs a serious retooling at least to kind of get back to his former glory days. Um, his roster's kind of in limbo right now. He's going to be Shane's bitch for years to come. So
Yep.
he's just getting used to it. At least he has the profile picture now to, admire his hero. Um, but yeah. Good week, Sean. The result was how it always was going to be. Shane hasn't lubed me. 2-4-4 in 11th place. Pull out a tie against the Braden bye week. 7-1-2 in first place. What happened here?
Yeah, this one is really tight. Uh, Coming down to the wire, tied in goals, tied in assists. Braden with one shot extra. Mark actually had for a second a shot credited to him, which gave him the lead uh, at 6-5, and then there was a correction not too long after, and it went back to the tie. But yeah, that's a pretty big extra point for Mark. Fourth tie on the season, 10 weeks in. Um, that's a lot. Putting a little bit of a wrinkle into Braden's season, 7-1-2 now. The, Otherwise, pretty close spread out along. Braden with three goal lead categories, so a little bit favorable there, but like even some really close categories, 7 blocks, 6 hits, so good matchup. I wouldn't say overly strong week from their team. Their goalies had pretty good numbers, but good one, tight to the end.
Big win for, or big tie for Mark and a point. But when
Yeah,
I was talking with Kyle when we did this earlier, uh, he was saying that Braden seems to be having some magic comebacks here on Sunday, some Sunday magic. So,
yeah.
uh,
Well, last week, yep,
last few weeks, right? So, he's pulling it out on a Sunday. But this is the team he should be beating. Tying a garbage team like Mark's, it's not a good sign. How good is your team really, Braden? We're gonna find out. You have some tough challenges in the next few weeks. You have a tough opponent this week in Corey. You have Nick and myself coming around again in a few weeks. It's time to test the strength of your team for real here. See if it's a fluke or if you do deserve to be near the top.
it's
But
true.
Mark interestingly has four ties now this season. And I want to ask that guy if he can go ahead and look into seeing what the record is for most ties in a season. I'm curious now. Mark must be close if he doesn't already have it. I don't remember a team getting more than four ties in a season.
Yeah, for a full year, yeah, 4 feels like a lot, even, right?
Yeah. So, stat guy, I know you're looking for an assignment here. You're always watching. Why don't you hit us up in the chat? Let us know. Beef battle ended up in a tie here. You got father versus son. Daltrey Jr. here at 5-4-1 in eighth. Daltrey Sr. 4-3-3 in ninth place. What happened here?
This one was close right to the end. I think Daltrey had the lead going into Sunday. Um, Daltrey didn't get a goalie category, so 7 player categories. Domo taking 4 goalie stats, but he won by .001 save percentage. And Gustafsson got hurt in the last game that he had a goalie game, so that really sucks for him. Being .001 below, and then your guy's out mid game after getting lit up. But and then your goalie's hurt as well. It's like insult to injury, right?
Your
Like,
star goalie. Like,
yeah, exactly. Gustafsson, who's been playing lights out for them. So his players carried him along here. Domo, his goalies carried him to a tie. Still even close stats, 1 goal apart, um, 3 blocks apart. So like 2 power play points. So it really could have went either way in a few different ways. So uh, you know what? They're probably happy they got a tie. No one got the loss between the father son duo. So
no
yeah.
animosity there.
Yeah, and they're both right in the middle of the standings. I think they're tied in the standings actually. So interesting matchup for that one. Kind of shitty way to end too, though. No one gets the win.
No, that's how I feel with ties. Like, I like getting that point, but it's like, man, like someone should win. But it's
Yeah,
not how the league works. Everybody loves Raymond. 5-4-1 in sixth place. Continues his winning ways after beating Travis's trash team. Sitting at 2-8. The current leader in the race for the Caucasaurus. What happened here?
uh, to be expected. Um, 2 shorties and a shutout for Derek. 3 game winners really help to lead the way to a kind of easy route on Travis. That's a lot for a team like him to overcome, I'd say. He won his hits, he won his PIMs, he won his goalie saves. Kind of the categories you can control through man games a bit more. And that's we know he's going for that. A couple of the other categories were close, just not enough to get the win.
I was saying earlier in the previous recording, Derek Allmark is been on fire. Uh,
Yes.
on fire, like great. He's the guy who was looking for a new goalie a couple weeks ago because Allmark was not playing well, and he's found his
Nope.
game.
And Swayman.
And Swayman, so it's been great for goaltending for Derek, which has really changed his fortune, and now he's climbing the standings. Who knows what'll happen when he regains his focus there when football's done. So
He does do better. There is a direct correlation to how he does when he pays attention versus not. Because
yeah,
he snuck in a playoffs a couple times, or made a close run at it at least, by actually stringing some wins along. So I'm excited to see. I like the competition. You don't there's I was gonna
I,
say there's no week that you're like, oh, I'm gonna win, but really there's a couple.
I would love some competition in this league, but we're just not
Oh,
there yet.
fuck off.
Forgot about Dre. 6-3-1 in fifth after picking up a rare loss, losing 8-7 to Sorokin these nuts. 5-4-1 in seventh place. What happened here?
Yeah, Neil's goalies really was the difference. 5 wins, a 929, a 187 with a shutout. He did lose saves, but shorthanded point, some close categories
Sunday
too.
shorthanded point.
Oh yeah, I wasn't watching this one too close. I know it was tight all weekend though. Like it was never one sided.
It was a Sunday
Um,
shorthanded point because Nick pointed out in the chat. He's like, well, that shorthanded point just fucked me. And then Monday.
oh yeah, it's true, right? Yeah, because there wasn't a whole lot close really. 3 goals apart, but four
It
game
looked like they were
winners.
going to tie, right?
Yeah, 4 game winners. Like, yeah, that's really all. That's all there was. Uh, yeah, that's crazy.
That's two big teams.
Yeah,
Um,
big win for Neil, who was sliding, right?
yeah, yeah. So he jumps back into a playoff spot. And again, we're still early. We're halfway through the season now. So being in a playoff spot is a lot better than not being in one and having to jump people to get in. So big win for Neil. Tough loss for Nick, but he'll rebound.
He
He
was on a
is one
run.
of the top teams in the league. Everyone knows it.
He was on a 6-0-1 run.
Yeah, he's going to lose some eventually, right? So it just came this week. At least it wasn't against a team like Travis. Mentally bedarded, 3-7-0 in 13th, losing to bitchin' bitches. 4-4-2 in 10th place. Um, for the record, he just changed his name because he was pure ass while we were recording earlier.
Bitchin' bitches. That's funny.
So, bitchin' bitches. What happened here?
Yeah, Casey had a good week. His goal, one goalie win, but he had a fair amount of games. Uh, Decent stats. Shorty 3 game winners. Well, they both had a shorty, um, but nothing overly impressive on either side. But Casey sneaking out a win, Kyle another loss after buying. Demko coming back, not the greatest performances, right? Uh, Unfortunate for him. That's kind of the one you want. It's a team you're competing for, trying to climb back into it. So it's a big loss there, unfortunately. So let's see who gets Bedard in the Bedard sweepstakes.
Well, that was a big thing too. Like, I feel like he's mentally bedarded if he does trade Bedard, unless I wouldn't bite if I was saying this earlier. I wouldn't bite on a deal that sent me a bunch of sixes, stuff like that. Okay, what are those sixes gonna do to improve your keeper base? It's not.
Yeah,
For me, minimum, for a player with a high ceiling like he has, like Bedard has, like he's a possible generational talent, right? Um, I would need at least two bona fide keeper upgrades. like to even consider. That's plus.
Yeah.
That's me. I think he needs to make this trade. He has to get this trade right if he's going to do it. If he gets this wrong,
But
like your whole franchise is fucked again, and you're the same spot you were in before you had Bedard.
he's in a good spot. Like Eichel's still a decent age. Vegas, I think, is going to compete every year. Like they've shown they want to. Uh, Demko's not a bad age on a good team. Like there's no reason you need to. See what your team looks like, selling off pieces if you really want to sell, and then do you really need to do more than that?
This is what I
Right?
said in the offseason too, though, right? In my little rant is that teams aren't patient enough with they don't stick to the plan.
We'll get to that.
When you have a guy like Bedard, you should be sticking to that
Yeah.
plan, in my opinion. That's
He's
all.
done well with that.
You
Yeah.
know, but it's your team. If you want to move him, move him. But you better get the trade right, um, or you're fucking your whole team up. But
Yeah.
big win for Casey. Good job, Casey. Patches
Bitchin'
O'Hooligan.
bitches.
Bitchin' bitches. I like it. Patches O'Hooligan, 6-2-2 in third. Tying. Svech me a drink, 3-6-1 in 12. What happened here?
Dude, this is the second time. So I messaged Dan last Sunday and I'm like, oh, I hope you beat Braden. Like coming into the Sunday, I'm like, you're looking like you're in a good spot with man games and how the categories were. And then he lost. So this Sunday, he's in a decent spot against Nick here. And I'm like, oh man, like I hope like let's see if he can get it done. Like I don't want to jinx you. Fucking thing doesn't get the win again. Like I feel bad. Knock on wood. I'm not saying nothing this week. Uh, yeah, but this was a good matchup. It was never out of the question that he couldn't lose. So uh, the one thing though, as they got along in the Sunday, there's still opportunity to pick up players and add drops because it was a really spread out schedule for the Sunday for the few games that there was. He couldn't really lose, so the tie was always pretty safe. So you didn't really have to do anything crazy, which was good because I was talking to him about it. But a good week for Nick here. He had a pretty good offensive week. 5 game winning goals, 16 goals. Dan coming out 96 hits. That's a ton of hits. I
Yeah.
think you hit over 100 last week, if I'm not mistaken. Dan had
Uh,
2 shorthanded
I was just
points.
shy of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dan went in some of the bigger categories, but Knicks' players putting up way better points. Goalie wise, they both had over 900 save percentage, pretty close categories there as well. So this would have been a stressful matchup going through the week.
Big tie for Nick, coming out of nowhere, right, to catch up
Yeah.
and force that tie. Sucks for Dan, who's been struggling to gain points, and he loses out on a point essentially. But that's how
And
it
he's
goes.
in a spot
It's
that
hockey.
he's not sure what 3-6-1, right? Like you're starting to slide out a bit.
Yeah, like I think he has some soul searching to do to see what he wants his team to look like going forward.
And
Maybe
then
maybe he has too much grind, and maybe you can move that to get something else. Because you don't need 90 hits every week. You
nope.
know, most teams aren't putting up close to that. So maybe you move some of that grind to get to a little offense or whatever you're lacking. Big
Yeah,
Bad
true.
Wolf, 7-3-0 in second after defeating the lowly 3-7-0 Team Rocket in 14th place. What happened here?
Well, I didn't have most outstanding week ever. But Kyle didn't show up, that's for sure. Um, kind of like this podcast right now. 7 goals, 7 assists on the week for him. So like it didn't really feel like my team never really went away with it. I didn't have an outstanding week, but he didn't really put pressure. Wolf got me a shutout, but 866 save percentage for me. 359 goals against. Like that's two of the categories he won. Like I gave it to him pretty much. But my team had a decent week enough to get the win. That's what's important. Big week now coming into Braden. So I actually have a tough schedule now because I have you, Braden, Nick, and Nick. So out of
Uh,
the top five, I'm in there. And I play the next 4 weeks. I play the other four. So I haven't checked the standings since the Sunday results, but
this will prove if you belong in the top tier or
yep,
not.
exactly. I'm excited. Let's see what it comes.
It's a good time for it to happen because now you'll still have time to make changes if you need to pivot, right? So,
Yeah,
um, a big win on you. These are the weeks when you have a bad week, you want to be against these low level teams, the jobbers who you don't have to be at the top of your game to beat, right? So, good timing for you. Sucks to be Kyle. Continues to lose. Too bad. He was saying earlier that he's in danger of gaining that Caucasaurus back, and he's under strict orders from his woman to not bring that home. So he is failing to do that.
that's funny.
Trades. We got some
Well, I mean,
interesting trades to go over.
absolutely.
The first one, it's not quite an ad drop. It was more of a I'm going to get this guy for one round because he's going to play a lot during the week. And that was Domo picking up Gerard for a one
Mm.
round upgrade with Nick. And I was saying earlier that that's what Nick does. We'll see it again later. He does the same thing. He'll use and abuse these hockey players, and then when he's done with it, he'll just move you on for a cheap reward,
He
one round upgrade.
he just picked up Gerard.
Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah. No, good on him. He has a good way of doing that.
yeah.
Uh,
He moves on from them quick. When
yeah.
he's done with it, he just moves you for a one pick upgrade and you know moves along. I'm glad you're here now because this is a trade I'm sure you want to talk about. Big Bad Wolf picking up Forsling, who you dropped pretty much immediately.
Yep.
Stamkos, an eighth and a ninth, in exchange for Granlund, John Carlson, an 11th and a 12th with Daltrey Jr. Tell me about this trade.
Yeah, I was kind of feeling like I wanted to move somebody to make some space. So I hit up Daltrey, who said he was looking for somebody to buy. Uh, I know Stamkos has been having a rough year, so um, I kind of asked him who he wanted to get rid of, and Stamkos was the guy he was interested in getting rid of. So I
First
said, well,
overall pick, by the way. Huge
yep.
mistake. I tried to tell him that draft day, but you don't listen to the champion.
So
So
here's the I told you so. Um, but yeah. So that's just how it developed. He said a few names. I didn't want to move the one guy. So I kind of threw out. I said, hey, throw in whoever else you want with Stamkos. I don't care. That's who he chose. So it wasn't a requested player. Uh,
I
and
figured he
then
was throwing.
that's the picks he offered. And well, a ninth and a ninth. I said, well, let's do an eighth, and we're good. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the deal. Happy to get Stamkos with that potential first overall pick. So he must be good, right? Uh, and Granlund's been hot. I don't think it's a bad deal for Daltrey. The one thing that is kind of funny, I did buy Carlson from Daltrey earlier in the year, so I think I paid a ninth for an 11th or something.
I'm not
So
a
it
fan of
wasn't too
Carlson
far off
myself,
from this.
but
He's done well. He put up 3 assists the next game for Daltrey. He just didn't have the grind, and I feel like that's something I need.
yeah.
But then I jumped on the opportunity for Stamkos and get some picks back because I did go pretty heavy with buying pretty early on.
That's part of why I'm not a fan of Carlson. Is my defenseman. I don't care if they put up points. That's just a bonus for me, right? Like I'd rather the grind, and that's why Carlson's a guy that's never on my radar. Um, Daltrey, I don't like this move for Daltrey. I like the move for you. Pick up Stamkos. He has a lot of potential to turn it around. And you get
Yep.
two pick upgrades, jumping into single digits here with an eight and a nine. So good on you. I don't like that price point for Daltrey for Granlund and Carlson, but it's his assets. He wants to make
It's not terrible.
it's not terrible. It's not
No.
terrible.
It's
I
just
would
a
not have
little
made that
bit.
deal, but
Yeah.
especially when you draft the guy first overall. To me, there's a little pride there.
Yeah.
Like I gotta hold on and hope he picks it up. And if I want to move him, then get some better value out of that. I tried to tell him Gustafson should be your first overall pick. He got lucky; he was still there at the ninth or tenth pick, um, and that
I
saved the
was
draft.
surprised.
But
He had a
Stamkos,
bad year, right? So,
yeah, everyone was worried about Wallstead, but
yep,
I
it's
don't
true.
think that's the case right now. So Stamkos, I tried to tell him like, he should not be your first overall pick. He didn't listen. Now he moves him, paying you to take him essentially. Please take Stamkos. Here's an eighth and a ninth. But
No, it wasn't that bad, adultery. Don't worry. Don't listen to him.
no, he's gonna take that personally. He's gonna, why do you guys hate me? But don't worry, Daltrey, you're beautiful. You just make some bad trades sometimes, in my opinion. That's all.
Yep, here's a
Sorokin
big one.
nuts. Picking up the Benetesk, Jake DeBrusk, Darcy Kemper, who's more of a 60-40 starter right now in LA, a 12th and a 13th. In exchange, Shane's bitch picks up McCann, Allen, a 7th and a ninth. What do you think of this deal?
Phew. I actually don't mind it for both teams. They're both in different situations. I think it's a pretty friendly price for Kemper, and then like just the picks alone, and then you add DeBrusque, who's been doing well. I really think he got a good price on what he got. He did give up McCann. Who, he's no DeBrusque though. Let's put it that way,
I
right?
think he
So
was
you see,
injured
he
when he
also
traded.
got the he was injured.
I think so.
I actually, you know what? I think you're right because I think I went and looked. But yeah, I think, but also to Sean's point, um, I think Kemper's value is high now. I don't think it will be like I'm not a big Kemper fan, so he's kind of shaky, right? So he's doing well now. Dump him while you kind of in the situation he's in. So I do like that piece too.
I think you gotta keep in mind too, a lot of the big picks are already gone off the table. So to get a seventh
Yup.
for Kemper. I think that's a good deal right now. DeBrusque for a ninth. I tried to tell everyone earlier in the season DeBrusque is playing great. No one listens to the Champion though. Now
Yep.
they want him. Now they want him. But that's okay. I got what I
Yep.
needed out of him. I moved him to get what I feel is an upgrade. A big move for Sean. I think I like the picks for Sean, but I like the additions for Neil, adding some
Yep.
scoring and grind depth, as well as a potential additional starter. Um, again, I'm thinking it's a 60-40 split right now between him and Rittich, but it could easily swap the other way and become a 40-60. Um,
Well, earlier in the year, though, they were running like a 75-25, 80-20 kind of split. So when they're both healthy, it could even go that way, right?
yeah, it could.
Yep.
We'll see. It depends on play, I believe. So,
Yep.
um,
Yep.
yeah, I like the deal for
And
both
they're
teams.
not shy to go with the better goalie right now. They've been
No,
doing it for the last freaking 5 years. They've been just playing the hot hand and rotating that door
and you
ever since
should at
Brick
that
left.
level.
Yeah.
At,
Yeah.
at the NHL level,
Yeah.
like if your
Yeah.
starter's not playing better than your backup, then your backup should be playing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Bitchin' bitches made a deal with TVT. Blackwood gets traded to Colorado. The next day, the offers come out. Blackwood, Sanderson, Eklund, and a 10th going to Casey. Travis receiving Robo, Levi, Gooley, and a 7th. Um, what do you think of this trade?
To me, I thought Travis won this hands down uh, because of the Robertson potential. Um, Levi, like I think he wanted to get rid of him at this point where he's ripping off the band-aid, which I'm kind of proud of him for. I think it's about time. I think he did really well actually going for a goalie in Blackwood and that potential. I don't think a seventh is a bad price. It's just Robertson. That's it. I think, but he's not playing outstanding. Well, he's doing better now. But I don't think it's a bad trade for both sides. But I think Travis did really well here.
I like the deal for Casey. I like it for both. I like it for Casey
Yeah,
because he's going to get a starting goalie in Colorado. He's been playing well so far in Colorado, which is great because Colorado is defensively weak. But he's been playing well, and that's going to get Casey some improved goalie stats. He must have been watching the show last week when I said he needs to get rid of one of these NA goalies, and he did just that. Um, Robertson and the seventh for a starting goalie in our league is a fair price.
Yep.
So I think both teams did well. Again, going back to who has who has the assets to move right now, because a lot of those draft picks are gone. I
There
do
wasn't a whole lot
know
of buyers out there.
I do know a funny story because Travis told me is that he offered Blackwood to Burge for eighth for 10th, and Burge said no, not interested. The next day he gets traded to Colorado. And Burge says, I'll do that deal. And Travis like, no, now he's the price has gone up. Like that goes back to what we were saying last week. Sometimes you gotta strike before the price goes up, right? When the deal is right. Eighth for 10th for a guy who even if he's starting in San Jose, like he's starting. Um Look at
Yep.
last year I picked up Mrazek for an eighth for like a 10th or something like that. Something similar. And Mrazek helped carry me through the playoffs because he faces a lot of shots.
A lot of rubber. When he's healthy.
A starting goalie for an eighth,
Yeah.
I'm almost always at least really considering it. But good move for both, I think. They both improve their assets there. Um,
It's a big one.
we did get the 10-minute warning. We still have about 7 minutes, so we should be able to get through the trades.
Okay.
Uh, this is another Nick moving a guy he was done with, Niederreiter in a 13th going to Daltrey in exchange for Mayfield in a 12th. Um, do you have anything to say about it?
Yeah.
No.
I like Niederreiter. I think he's worth the one run upgrade, to be honest.
Yeah, Niederreiter's playing well. Nick
Yep.
was just
Yeah,
done
he
with
keeps
him.
up the grind. Yep.
Now another trade that we want to talk about. Miller, a 7-8-8 going to TVT in exchange for Robertson, a 10th, 10th, 10th. Tell me about this deal.
You want to go? You want to give your take?
Yeah, I don't like it for Travis. I like it for you. This is a great move for you. You gave up a 7-8-8, so three good picks for a guy that improves your keeper base, a guy that you're not going to find in the seventh or eighth round of the draft, and you gave up. You got you gave up you got three tens. So
Yeah.
two round upgrades and a 3 round upgrade for a guy who greatly improves your keeper base, your keeper potential, uh, from a guy who desperately needs really good young keeper players. He can't sit still. He's like, I have to move. Someone offered me a lot of draft picks. I better trade this guy who greatly accelerates my rebuild um, for barely anything in my opinion. Like the return wasn't worth it for Travis in my opinion. But I thought this was a great deal for you.
Yeah. I was hitting up Casey asking about Robertson, um, and he just didn't want to talk about it. And I don't blame him. I think I even said that I'd be using that fourth player that he has as his keeper forwards, in my opinion, as leverage towards a goalie, and that's what he did, right? So good on him. But yeah, I'm the same with you. My the two eights, like the one was mine, the one's Braden. We're both near the top of the standings. I don't see them as high value picks, so I saw this as a one real solid sacrifice in the seventh, right? That hurt. But to get a guy like Robertson,
You
keeper,
give up Miller, who you
like
picked up
he
on
was just
waivers a
he
couple
didn't
weeks
even
ago.
care. Yeah, he didn't even care who it was. So we were going back and forth actually sending each other offers, like the, but it was more the eighth and my ninth for Lafreniere because I was interested in him. Then finally he gave up and said Robertson's available, so I just sent it because this is the best possible trade I could have given him. Like you said, 3/10. What did you do to me? That's I'm happy with that because I'm not going to get a Robertson with those picks.
Yeah, I know he had told me that you had offered him a 7.88 and he rejected it. And then when I saw the deal come through, like 7.88 and Miller, like Miller was the difference. Like
Well, no, I
what
think
changed his
the
mind on this
difference.
deal, you know? Like
I think the chat was the difference. I think people saying like Nick was saying, like, hey, multiple people are offering you an eighth round pick for this guy. I think that's his value. And then to see something like this come through now, when multiple people were kind of going at him, I think he saw this as maximizing his what he could get, right? So I got him while he was weak.
he maximized what he got in return, but this is
Yeah,
a guy he probably should not have moved in my opinion.
I
Um,
agree.
so yeah, okay,
Yeah,
you got a good deal, but it
yeah.
doesn't help your team in the long run. I feel it hurts your team more than anything. Again, his picks are so good now. Like who's dealing with him? He has nothing later than the eighth. But you're gonna draft good players with the eighth round, and then you're gonna be like, oh, who do I drop when I need to drop someone? It's gonna be someone good, and then you're gonna have vultures like me who's gonna be like on the waiver wire. I'm gonna grab that for free.
Well, no, I think what you got to do at that point is you got to sell a couple pieces early.
But he doesn't have much to sell anymore.
No.
Oh,
After the
early,
draft,
like yeah.
yeah, like right before you have some time before the season starts. I think that has to be the strategy, right? Uh,
Who knows? Who knows? He's always won the deal. He's still trying to make deals. So
yeah,
um, we have one more trade before we get to the actual ad drop ones. So let's talk about that one. Domo.
it's
No,
kind
that
of an
was
ad
actually
drop
that was
one.
an ad drop one. That was an ad drop one.
Yeah, I
So we
will
got
comment on this one though
yeah,
because Laferriere goes your way,
yeah.
and this is a guy that he dropped, then spent two different pick upgrades for. I think 10th or 13th or somewhere around there, like two 3 round upgrades for, and now just ships them back for man game players. But also Schneider played, and
Snyder
you
played
traded
that
you.
day.
Yeah.
And I
So
used
like
that man game. I kept him.
yeah, like it's just like that one was a head scratcher to me. But whatever, two 1 round upgrades, who cares? But
I think
the
it was
whole
just he wasn't confident that Schneider would get him the categories he needed.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the only explanation I can
yep,
give. But I was surprised that he sent me a guy who was playing. I'm like, okay, I'll hold on to him. And then I made the odd drops one at a
yeah,
time and moved them
yeah.
back to him. But that's where we'll end this part. We'll come back for part two to talk about next week's matchups.